Foot jams can be brutal, but they can also do magical things. When used correctly, they just might give you the power to climb like a superhero. Welcome back to Enigma Climbing. This is Ardian, and today we're going to learn about foot jams. I know most of you have heard of foot jams and you think, yeah, crack climbing, sure, I know what those are. And some of you, hopefully not too many, will think, well, I sport climb or I boulder or whatever. I have no use for foot jams. But I beg to differ. In fact, I implore you, don't dismiss foot jams until at least you get to the end of this video. And maybe by then I would have convinced you that foot jams are useful in all forms of climbing. Now, first thing I want to say about foot jams is that it has the power to make the rock hold on to you. It is unique in this way because when you engage the foot jam, it creates torque and opposition in the rock, providing a wedging effect that turns this purchase point into a multi-directional foothold. It allows you to stand on something even when there's nothing to stand on. It allows you to pull just like you're heel hooking when you're climbing in the steep, even though there are no heel hooks around. It will allow you to hang like you're using a toe hook, but at the same time not fatigue as much as a toe hook. All you need is a place to get your foot in and create opposition. Remember, there are no trad climbing techniques. There are just climbing techniques. A foot jam would be a crack climbing technique. It can be used in sport climbing and bouldering and trad climbing. And if you aren't using crack skills, you're missing out on a huge amount of knowledge and are lacking a fundamental way to improve your climbing efficiency. Now let's go over the three main methods that you can do this with. The most obvious one being using half of your foot in a vertical crack. This is the technique that most people associate crack climbing with. You approach the crack with your foot flat, with a vertical sole, and you jam it in as deep as you can past the toes. Ideally, you want to feel the rock under the arch of your foot. Now this next part is important. Remember this, you have to turn the knee inward, medially, to create that torque and get the foot to stick, creating the opposition forces. Now you can use all kinds of different shoes to climb using foot jams. Whether it has laces, Velcro, whether it's a flat shoe or an aggressive shoe, it will still work. Most often I use my regular sport climbing aggressive shoes to climb cracks, and they've worked just fine for foot jams. In fact, sometimes I have to use my sport climbing shoes when the crack is thin and I have trouble getting my toes in. And that brings me to method number 2 on how to use foot jams. The regular foot jam's evil twin. You do the same thing, but you can only get your toes in instead of half of your foot. This makes it quite painful. Meditation and Zen-like pain tolerance is key here. You get your toes jammed in there and get the heck out of there as fast as you can. And sometimes using a pair of aggressive shoes will help to get thin feet to stick, but it will also wreck the top of your toe knuckle. But I say that's fine. No pain, no gain, right? If you want to have the full advantage of foot jams and toe jams, sometimes you gotta take the pain. It's worth it, or I think so anyway. Now the third method is quite interesting. It is when you have a wide crack and you can get your entire foot in there, past the ankle and everything, past the heel even. Just like the other techniques, this works from all angles. Use it when climbing vertical as well as steep. You create opposition with your toe and heel, and you can change the orientation of your foot in many directions, but as long as there is opposition being applied by parts of your toes and parts of your heel, it will work. Now keep in mind, it can get quite brutal, but that's what makes it feel like a superpower, and that's what makes it feel fun, and also that's what makes it work. You'll be doing moves that other people stay away from. It can open up another dimension of climbing that you probably never thought possible. Now this next bit is important. Listen carefully. A lot of times you can do this on pockets. Think about how often you might have missed a great foot jam on a hard sport climb just because you weren't thinking about it or you don't know the technique. When you're sport climbing or bouldering and you see pockets around, especially deep pockets, always think, can I use a foot jam in there? A lot of times the answer is yes. Well, that's it for today. So get out there and practice those foot jams. Adding this climbing technique to your arsenal will change things for you. It will feel like you're cheating sometimes, and that's what we want. Want to feel like we have superpowers when we're climbing. So get out there, have fun, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.